Hello everyone, Victoria here. I hope you're all well today. It's Carers Week this week, and I am joining you in my capacity as a counsellor for the TrustLinks Carers team. When I first trained as a therapist, I did my student placement at TrustLinks and I never left, so I must have liked it. I'm still working there today, and I feel like I owe a lot to carers in a way because it's carers that help me learn my craft, and I'm still learning from them today, which is great. So I have counselled carers for nearly 4 years now, and I've been fortunate enough to work with a number of different carers from across the Southend area. People that are caring for loved ones, and I feel really privileged actually that I'm in a position to hear some of your stories. And I never lose sight of that actually, what a privilege it is to do the job that I do and help the people that I help, or help people to help themselves. So it's Carers Week this week, and my cat is joining me for the live session today. I do apologise. This is William, everyone. So yeah, it's Carers Week this week, but really it should be Carers Week every week, because you guys are so important, and the job that you do, caring for your loved ones is is vital. So yeah, this week is about you, and my talk today is about you as well. So the carers that we work with at TrustLinks could be looking after a partner, a husband or wife. They could be looking after a child, a parent, or a friend. Some people live in a household where multiple people within that household will need caring for. And as a therapist, I'm really lucky in that the counselling that we offer isn't time limited. Sometimes when someone needs counselling, they might be offered a limited amount of sessions, but with TrustLinks, the counselling that we provide for carers is open-ended, so a person will have as much counselling as they need. So we're really lucky in that sense that we really get to know our carers over time, and that allows us, as sort of the caring role varies and changes in line with the needs of the person that's being cared for. The carer has different needs, so we're really lucky that we have that time to help the carer to learn the skills that are going to help them to cope better with their caring role. And yeah, it allows us to really get to know the people that we're working with as well, so we're really lucky in that sense. Carers are often quite surprised by the amount of support that is out there, because often you don't know it's there until someone alerts you to the fact that the support is there, and then at that point it can be quite overwhelming with the amount of leaflets you're getting through, and there's this group or that group, or this place or that place, and that can be overwhelming in itself, because often for a long time carers are struggling on without that support, and not knowing that support is there, and then suddenly you're bombarded with it. And I don't what I've noticed with carers is that often they won't consider themselves to be carers. It's just what they do. It's just they just look after their child, or they just look after their husband or their wife. But it's unpaid carers do such a vital role that it's important that you access the support, because doing that can be really tricky. It can be really tough. And often what is preventing unpaid carers from accessing that support is that they actually don't consider themselves to be carers at all. So in counselling, everyone's story is different, of course it is, but there are a number of things that most carers have in common, I found. Most of them are knackered. Most of them will have put aside their own needs and will be ploughing 100% of their effort and energy into looking after the person or people that they care for. What I see a lot as a therapist is a loss of identity as an individual. The carer is often so attuned to the needs of the person that they look after and spend so much of their day making sure those needs are met and preempting kind of, any possible, problem that might arise, that they actually forget to look after themselves and almost lose their own identity, in the process. It's almost that, they become, someone's mum or someone's carer rather than being, the wonderful person that they are with all that is, all that goes into that, all of those, qualities and strengths and personalities and things that they enjoy. A lot of that gets lost. Because so much of your energy and effort is put into caring for your person. So you lose sight of what you want, what you value, what you enjoy. And for some carers, it can be difficult to separate themselves from the person that they care for. And so part of therapy often is looking to reconnect with themselves and, in a way that they may not have done for a really long time. What do you enjoy? What do you value? What makes you you? What needs to be in your life in order for you to be happy? A lot of the carers I see are often feeling really isolated in their role, because often there is a lot of support for the person that they're caring for in terms of different professionals that may be helping with, whatever it is that they're struggling with. But carers need emotional and practical support too. And while there, maybe sort of family and friends around them, I've noticed that there sometimes can be a reluctance to talk to the people within your support network because maybe you feel that, you shouldn't be feeling that way. Maybe there's, an element of guilt that perhaps, you don't always like being a carer. Sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes it's not fun. And there can be an element of guilt to that. I've found in that people don't want to talk about what they're struggling with because they feel bad. But keeping those feelings bottled up, that then leads to feelings of isolation, and you can feel that there's no one to turn to with how you feel. And like I say, guilt is often a big thing for carers. Lots of carers I see, that initial, those initial sessions, there's so much guilt involved, when they come to therapy because of the feelings they have about being a carer. They feel bad for feeling the way that they do, and they feel bad that they don't always enjoy being a carer, as I say. So, sometimes it can be difficult and exhausting and overwhelming, being a carer. And then when you layer on all those extra feelings of guilt and shame, that's a lot to carry around with you. So there's no shame in seeking help with that. Often when carers come for counselling, they think that they can only talk about caring related things, but that's really not the case. In fact, often it's the opposite. When a person comes to therapy, they might think that, they're going to talk primarily about their caring role, and obviously that, there is an element of that. But actually, when you come to counselling, you can talk about any part of your life that might be troubling you, and it's always going to benefit your role as a carer, because if you're okay, you're going to be more able to sort of undertake your caring role from a place of calmness and stability. And the happier you are as a person, the better you're going to be able to do everything that you need to do. And what I've learnt more than anything is the carers that I see are an incredibly resilient group of people. They get up every day, sometimes through the night, and tend to the needs of someone else before their own. And that's not always easy. So my hat goes off to all of you. I never lose sight of how incredibly difficult it must be. you know, to do that day in, day out, and, you know, with a smile on your face, or not sometimes. And because this week is all about carers, it's all about you guys. So I wanted to talk about some ways that you can really look after yourself this week and every week. You know, this week we're kind of bringing it to your attention. We're bringing the lives of carers to the forefront. But, you know, don't, anything that you do this week or anything that you've learned this week, you know, continue to put that into practice, because, you know, you can't care for anyone if you're not caring for yourself. So, number one, what I would just say is, you know, don't be afraid to reach out. If you're a carer in the Southend area, or even if you don't live in Southend, but the person you care for does, you can access help via Southend Carers, who we work in partnership with. There's a consortium in place to help and support carers in the Southend area. And obviously things look a little bit different right now, but we are still here. You can still access that help and support. And you can do that online, or if you're already working with a professional can do it, can refer you on your behalf. We offer a number of different support groups for carers, some of which will involve, you know, doing things that you enjoy, like, you know, doing hobbies like crafting or yoga or meditation. We've got a wonderful team of volunteers that come in and run groups for our carers. And even at the moment, I think a lot of those things are happening via Zoom, so you can still get involved. And then some of our groups will be, you know, specific to the challenges that you face as a carer. You know, it'll be kind of sitting around and talking about the difficulties with other carers, and actually that's what people report that they find helps, is being in a situation where they are with people in a similar situation to them, you know, other carers who they feel are going to understand what it is to be a carer and what that means on a real practical level. And actually just not feeling so alone. It's having someone to talk to that you can go, well, this is really hard, isn't it? You know, and they'll go, yeah, it is really hard, because I'm going through that as well. And it's being heard and understood from someone that you know understands, because they're in a similar situation. And, you know, forging those links and those friendships and those connections can be really vital, and building that support network. So, you know, don't be afraid to reach out. You know, there's no shame in asking for help. And actually, once you do, that's going to benefit everyone in your world, because you're then going to be better equipped to cope with the stresses of every day. Number two, don't forget to take care of your own basic needs. It sounds like a really obvious thing to say, but so many carers forget to do really basic things like, you know, making sure they're eating and making sure that they're getting enough sleep. And I know that can be difficult for some of you if, say, you have to get up during the night to look after your people and tend to their needs. But when you don't eat, not only will you not have enough energy or strength to perform your caring role, but actually it affects your ability mentally to be able to process and cope with, you know, the stresses of everyday life. So, you know, although sort of taking time out to make sure that you're tending to your basic needs might feel impossible sometimes, you know, even just kind of setting alarms to have meals, or spending a day kind of prepping meals in advance so that you're making sure that you're eating, is going to benefit not only you, but the person that you care for too. Number three, make time for the things that you enjoy. If you're not sure what that is, dedicate some time to reconnecting with what it is that you enjoy. You know, when was the last time you did something that really made you feel happy or calm? You know, when was the last time you did something that made you forget about everything else? So if you're not really sure what your thing is anymore, think to a time when you were happy. You know, what was involved in your life then? And try and re-engage with that. You know, it might be reading, it might be crafting, it might be watching a favourite show on Netflix, but try and dedicate some time, even a small amount of time, you know, every day to doing something just for you. You know, because if you imagine inside of us, there's like an energy tank. If you give and you give and you give and you give, at some point you're going to run out of empty. You know, you wouldn't drive a car without putting petrol in it. And all of those little things that you do for yourself, they're going to put a little bit more energy in that tank, to allow you to do, you know, all of the amazing things that you do for others. So yeah, you know, do some things that give you fulfillment so that you can, you know, build that energy store back up. Number 4, talk about how you feel. You may have a trusted friend or family member that you can reach out to, but if you don't, try and utilize like a confidential helpline, somewhere like the Samaritans. You know, you can speak free and confidentially to people, and really get things off your chest. You know, when you hold those feelings in, they don't go away, you just add to them. So, you know, you might be feeling angry or sad or frustrated or overwhelmed, and all of that stuff gets packed down until you just can't cope anymore. And that's not a place that you want to get to, because that's not helpful for anyone. So when you talk about how you feel, it allows you a chance to identify your feelings, you know, brainstorm what might be causing the issue and put a plan in place that's going to help you. You know, it can really help to process your feelings and deal with them, and just to, you know, remind yourself that you're not alone. Although you might feel that you're alone sometimes, you're not. There are people out there that you can talk to about how you feel, and there's no shame in that. And number 5, be honest about your own needs. Again, it's nothing to feel guilty for when you say you need help. You know, don't make out you're coping if you're not. You know, if you're a mess inside, but outwardly, you know, you look fine and you look like you're coping, you know, people aren't necessarily going to know that you need help. So when someone offers help, you know, take it. You know, there's no need to struggle on and carry everything on your own shoulders. You know, and if someone asks how you are, don't be so quick to say, oh yeah, I'm fine, everything's fine. You know, if someone asks, say, actually, I'm finding things a little bit tough. You know, and let people into your world, because there will be people that want to help. And, you know, there's no shame in accessing that help. So yeah, those are just a few little tips from me about things that you can do to look after yourself. You know, reach out, accept help, take time for yourself, for your basic needs, and just the things that you enjoy. Because, you know, you're worth that time and you're worth that effort and energy. You know, all of the energy and effort that you put into caring for your person, you know, hold a little bit of that back for yourself, because, you know, you need it more than anyone. Okay, so that's all from me today. Happy Carers Week, everyone. You know, if you know someone that is caring for a loved one, reach out to them, ask if there's anything that you can do to help. And if you're the person caring, accept that help if you need it. So yeah, that's all from me. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will see you soon. Bye.